Good morning, good people. Let me tell you something. Sometimes the best move you can make in life is no move at all. Sometimes you just got to sit back, shut up, and let things happen the way they're supposed to. I know that sounds crazy, but hear me out. Silence brings clarity. In a world full of noise, distractions, and constant chatter, the ability to be silent is a skill that few truly master. Everywhere you turn, there's someone talking, debating, or trying to prove a point. Social media is flooded with opinions. The news never stops, and people seem to have an endless need to voice their thoughts, even when they have nothing valuable to say. But in the midst of all this, silence remains one of the most powerful tools a person can have. When you take a step back and choose to be silent, you start to notice things that were always there but drowned out by the noise. You begin to truly hear not just the words people say, but the intent behind them. You start picking up on body language, on pauses in conversations, on the energy in the room. Most people don't realize that the loudest messages are often communicated without words. A look, a shift in tone, a moment of hesitation. These things speak louder than any speech ever could. In business, in relationships, in personal growth, silence can give you an edge. The most successful people in the world understand the power of listening more than they talk. They know that when you speak too much, you give away your position. You reveal your thoughts, your weaknesses, your strategy. But when you stay silent and observe, you gather information, you gain understanding, and you put yourself in a position of strength. People will tell you everything you need to know if you just stay quiet long enough to let them talk. Silence is also where true self-awareness is built. When you remove external distractions, you're left with your own thoughts, your own emotions, and your own truths. Many people fear silence because they don't want to face what's inside them. They fill their days with music, television, social media, and endless conversation to avoid sitting alone with themselves. But when you embrace silence, you give yourself the chance to understand who you really are. You recognize your patterns, your fears, your strengths, and your purpose. Clarity doesn't come from seeking more noise. It comes from cutting it out. When you're constantly talking, you can't hear what life is trying to tell you. People pray for answers but never sit still long enough to receive them. They ask for signs, for direction, for wisdom, but they drown out the very guidance they're searching for with their own voices. Silence is where revelation happens. It's where ideas are born, where solutions are found, where creativity thrives. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in history came from moments of stillness, not moments of chaos. Silence also protects your energy. Not everything requires a response. Not every argument needs your input. Not every situation calls for you to explain yourself. There's a reason why the most disciplined and successful individuals don't engage in every little debate or controversy. They understand that their energy is valuable, and wasting it on meaningless conversations only distracts them from their true goals. When you learn to stay silent, you develop a level of control that few possess. You no longer react emotionally to everything thrown your way. You choose where to invest your words, and that choice alone gives you power. There's a difference between hearing and listening. Most people hear, but very few actually listen. Listening requires you to be present, to absorb, to process. It's easy to hear what someone is saying and immediately prepare your response, but true listening means you're not thinking about what you want to say next. You're fully engaged in understanding the other person. This is why the best negotiators, leaders, and influencers are often the quietest in the room. They listen first, speak last, and when they do speak, their words carry weight because they've taken the time to understand before responding. People often mistake silence for weakness. They assume that if you're not constantly asserting yourself, you're not strong. But true strength is knowing when to speak and when to remain silent. A wise person doesn't waste words. They don't argue just to prove a point. They don't speak just to fill the space. Instead, they wait, they think, and when they do say something, it matters. Silence also teaches patience. In a world that demands instant gratification, being able to wait and observe without rushing into action is a rare trait. Patience allows you to see things clearly before making decisions. It prevents impulsive mistakes. It helps you recognize opportunities that others miss because they were too busy talking instead of paying attention. The person who can remain silent while others rush in is often the one who comes out ahead. Many people struggle with silence because they equate it with loneliness. But there's a difference between being alone and being lonely. Silence is not isolation. It's an opportunity to connect with yourself on a deeper level. It's in the quiet moments that you gain confidence, that you develop resilience, that you learn to trust yourself. You don't need external validation when you've spent enough time in silence to know your own worth. The more you practice silence, the more you'll realize that most things don't need your reaction. The more you observe, the more you understand. The more you listen, the wiser you become. The people who talk the most often know the least, while the ones who listen carefully always seem to have the right answers at the right time. Observation is power. In a world where everyone wants to be seen and heard, the ability to step back and truly observe is an underrated skill. Most people spend their time reacting, talking, and pushing their own agenda without realizing that the greatest advantage comes from simply paying attention. Those who master the art of observation gain insights that others overlook, make better decisions, and position themselves for success in ways that seem almost effortless. When you observe, you pick up on details that others miss. You notice patterns in behavior, shifts in energy, and unspoken words between the lines of a conversation. People often reveal more about themselves when they think no one is watching closely. Their actions, expressions, and body language tell a far deeper story than their words ever could. Those who pay attention can see through facades, recognize hidden opportunities, and anticipate problems before they arise. The power of observation applies in every area of life. In business, the most successful entrepreneurs and leaders aren't the ones who talk the most, but the ones who watch and listen the closest. They study markets, trends, and consumer behavior, allowing them to move strategically while others operate blindly. They notice what people truly need before the people themselves even realize it. By watching carefully, they find gaps in industries, weaknesses in competitors, and solutions that the majority overlook. In relationships, being observant allows for deeper connections. Many conflicts arise not because of what is said, but because of what is left unsaid. People show their emotions through their actions more than their words. A person may say they are fine, but their tone, body language, or lack of enthusiasm tells a different story. When you observe, you begin to understand the people around you on a much deeper level. You learn what excites them, what frustrates them, and what they truly value. Instead of reacting emotionally to situations, you gain the ability to navigate them with understanding and intelligence. Being an observer also gives you an edge in conversations. Instead of rushing to speak, those who observe first can assess the room, understand the dynamics at play, and respond with precision. A well-placed sentence carries far more weight than an endless stream of words. Those who dominate discussions rarely learn anything new because they are too busy talking. Meanwhile, those who listen and absorb the information around them walk away with knowledge that can be applied to their advantage. Observation is not just about watching others, it is also about self-awareness. Many people go through life on autopilot, repeating the same mistakes and wondering why they are stuck in the same cycles. When you take the time to observe your own actions, thoughts, and patterns, you gain control over them. You recognize what triggers your emotions, what habits hold you back, and what situations bring out the best in you. Self-observation leads to growth, and growth leads to success. In competitive environments, observation separates the average from the exceptional. In sports, athletes study their opponents to anticipate their moves. In business, companies analyze their competition to find weaknesses they can exploit. In social settings, those who observe understand group dynamics and can adjust their approach accordingly. The ability to assess situations before making a move leads to better outcomes and fewer mistakes. A person who observes more than they speak holds an undeniable advantage. They do not reveal their own strategies too soon. They do not waste energy on unnecessary conflict. And they do not miss opportunities because they were too distracted by their own voice. While others are impulsive, the observer remains calm, calculating the best course of action before making a decision. The mind becomes sharper through observation. Over time, patterns become easier to recognize and instincts become more refined. What once seemed unpredictable becomes obvious. People who observe with intention develop an almost intuitive sense of knowing what will happen next, simply because they have trained themselves to recognize the early signs that others overlook. Many misunderstand the power of silence and observation, assuming that those who remain quiet are disengaged or lack confidence. But in reality, those who speak the least often understand the most. The loudest person in the room may seem dominant, but the one who sits back and watches is the one gathering all the information. When you take a step back and allow yourself to fully absorb your surroundings, you start to see the world differently. You no longer feel the need to respond to everything instantly. You gain patience, insight, and wisdom that others cannot comprehend. You notice things that most people will never see. You develop a level of awareness that allows you to move with purpose rather than blindly reacting to whatever comes your way. Let blessings find you. Too many people spend their lives chasing things that are meant to come naturally. They run after success, force relationships, and push for opportunities that aren't aligned with their path. The problem with chasing is that it often leads to exhaustion, frustration, and disappointment. What's truly meant for you doesn't require desperation. It requires preparation, patience, and faith that the right things will arrive at the right time. When you're constantly chasing, you don't allow space for things to flow. You operate from a place of lack, always feeling like you need to push harder, run faster, and do more to get what you want. But when you're in alignment with your purpose, you don't have to force anything. You attract the right opportunities, the right people, and the right experiences by becoming the person who is ready for them. Instead of chasing, you position yourself in a way that allows blessings to find you. A tree doesn't chase the rain, it stands firm, deeply rooted, knowing that when the time is right, the rain will come. The seasons change, storms come and go, but the tree remains in place, trusting that what it needs will arrive. People often disrupt their own growth by trying to force things before they are ready. They uproot themselves in pursuit of something they think they need, only to realize they weren't prepared to receive it. What is meant for you will never require you to beg, struggle, or compromise your peace. When you focus on becoming the best version of yourself, everything else falls into place. Instead of chasing love, become the kind of person who naturally attracts healthy relationships. Instead of chasing money, develop the skills and mindset that lead to financial success. Instead of chasing recognition, focus on perfecting your craft so that your work speaks for itself. The people who get the most opportunities are not the ones who constantly search for them, but the ones who have built something valuable that opportunities gravitate toward. Timing plays a crucial role in everything. Sometimes what you want isn't being denied, it's just being delayed until you're truly ready for it. People often become impatient, trying to force things that aren't meant to happen yet. They rush into jobs they aren't passionate about, relationships that aren't fulfilling, and decisions that create more problems than solutions. When you learn to trust the timing of your life, you stop stressing over things that haven't happened yet. You understand that preparation is more important than pursuit. Blessings come when there is room for them. Many people are so focused on chasing what they want that they don't realize they are holding on to things that block new opportunities. They hold on to toxic relationships out of fear of being alone, preventing new and better connections from entering their lives. They cling to jobs they hate because they're afraid of uncertainty, never allowing themselves to grow into something greater. They stay in the same patterns, thinking that if they just work harder, push more, or demand what they want, things will change. But sometimes the key isn't to do more, it's to let go and make space for something better. Faith is essential when it comes to receiving blessings. It requires believing that even when things don't seem to be going your way, something greater is being prepared for you. People often give up too soon because they don't see immediate results. They lose hope and settle for less than they deserve. But the truth is, the biggest breakthroughs come right after the moment when most people quit. If you stay steady, keep doing the right things, and trust that what's meant for you will come, you'll be amazed at how everything starts falling into place. Energy plays a significant role in what you attract. When you operate from a mindset of scarcity, fear, and desperation, you attract experiences that reflect that energy. But when you operate from confidence, peace, and faith, you naturally attract situations that align with that. People are drawn to energy. Opportunities are drawn to preparation. Success is drawn to consistency. Instead of trying to chase something outside of yourself, focus on adjusting your energy so that what you desire is pulled toward you. One of the biggest misconceptions is that success, happiness, and love are things that need to be chased down and conquered. But the reality is, the things that are truly meant for you will never require force. They will flow into your life when you are ready for them. You don't have to beg for love that is truly yours. You don't have to struggle endlessly for success that is meant for you. You don't have to prove your worth to people who are meant to be in your life. When you stop chasing and start aligning, everything begins to shift. The moment you realize that you don't have to fight for what's already written for you, life becomes easier. The stress, the pressure, the desperation, all of it fades away when you understand that everything is working for your highest good. Instead of exhausting yourself running after things, work on yourself. Build your foundation, strengthen your character, develop your skills. Let go of what no longer serves you. When you do that, you don't have to chase blessings anymore. They will come find you. Not every battle needs your voice. In life, there will always be situations that try to pull you in, conversations that beg for your response, and conflicts that seem to demand your participation. The instinct to defend yourself, prove a point, or correct someone can feel overwhelming, but true power lies in knowing when to stay silent. Every disagreement is not an invitation. Every criticism is not a call to action. Every challenge is not meant to be fought head on. People waste so much energy engaging in battles that don't serve them. They argue with people who will never change their minds. They try to convince those who are committed to misunderstanding them. They explain themselves to people who have already made up their own version of the truth. The result is exhaustion, frustration, and distraction from what really matters. The most successful, peaceful, and focused individuals understand that silence is not weakness, it is strategy. When you respond to everything, you give away your power. The person who can be easily provoked is the person who can be easily controlled. People who always feel the need to react are unknowingly allowing others to dictate their emotions and actions. When you learn to let things go, to observe without engaging, and to stay silent in moments of chaos, you become unshakable. Your peace is no longer at the mercy of external forces. Silence is a response. It communicates more than words ever could. When someone disrespects you and you choose not to react, you show that their words have no power over you. When people gossip, insult, or spread negativity and you refuse to participate, you reveal your strength. Not responding does not mean you are weak. It means you refuse to waste your energy on things that do not align with your purpose. There is wisdom in picking your battles. Some fights are worth engaging in when your values, your loved ones, or your integrity are on the line. But many battles are simply distractions. Arguments on social media, petty disagreements, and attempts to prove a point often lead nowhere. Winning an argument does not always mean winning in life. Sometimes the greatest victory is walking away with your peace intact. People often feel the need to defend themselves against every criticism. They want to correct every false statement, clear up every misunderstanding, explain their intentions. But the truth is, no matter how much you try, some people will never see things your way. Some will believe what they want to believe no matter what you say. Fighting every misconception is a losing battle. Time reveals truth better than words ever could. Learning to stay silent when necessary is not just about avoiding conflict, it's about mastering control over yourself. The person who cannot remain silent in difficult situations is the person who is easily manipulated. When emotions take over, rationality fades. Words spoken in anger, frustration, or haste often lead to regret. Holding your tongue, on the other hand, allows you to remain in control. In moments of tension, silence gives you time to think. Instead of reacting impulsively, you can assess the situation, weigh the consequences, and decide whether a response is even necessary. Most of the time, it isn't. People who master the art of restraint are always steps ahead of those who react emotionally. They are not easily provoked, they do not entertain foolishness, and they do not allow negativity to dictate their actions. There is power in letting people reveal themselves. When you stay silent, you allow others to show their true character. People who are argumentative, negative, or manipulative will expose themselves without any help from you. When you refuse to engage in drama, you force others to face their own words and actions. Many conflicts fade away on their own when you remove your energy from them. Pride often pushes people into unnecessary battles. The need to be right, to have the last word, or to prove a point can blind people to what is truly important. But being right does not always lead to peace. Choosing silence over conflict does not mean accepting defeat. It means valuing your peace over your pride. Some things are simply not worth the fight. Knowing when to stay silent is a sign of wisdom. It means understanding that your energy is valuable and should not be wasted on meaningless confrontations. It means recognizing that peace is more important than being right. It means choosing growth over temporary satisfaction. The strongest people are not those who shout the loudest, but those who know when to say nothing at all. Patience leads to clarity. In a world that constantly pushes for speed, instant results, and quick decisions, patience has become a rare but powerful trait. People rush into relationships, force opportunities, and make impulsive choices because they fear waiting. They believe that if they don't act immediately, they will miss out. But what they fail to realize is that patience brings clarity, and clarity leads to the right decisions. When you slow down and allow life to unfold naturally, you begin to see things as they truly are. Rushing creates blindness. It leads to decisions made out of fear, desperation, or the pressure of the moment rather than true understanding. Patience gives you the space to evaluate situations, weigh your options, and make choices that align with your goals. Many regrets in life come from acting too soon without seeing the full picture. People jump into careers they don't love, relationships that don't serve them, and commitments they aren't ready for because they lack the patience to wait for something better. Opportunities that are truly meant for you will never require force. If you have to chase, beg, or manipulate a situation to make it work, it is likely not the right fit. The best things in life come with flow, not force. That doesn't mean they don't require effort, but effort is different from desperation. Effort comes from a place of alignment, while desperation comes from fear of missing out. Patience allows you to recognize the difference. The greatest minds, the most successful individuals, and the strongest leaders understand the power of patience. They know that timing is just as important as talent. They do not rush decisions, nor do they act on impulse. Instead, they observe, learn, and wait for the right moment to move. A well-thought-out decision will always outweigh an impulsive one. Patience allows you to develop a deeper understanding of yourself and your circumstances. When you take your time, you begin to notice details that were once overlooked. You gain insight into people's true intentions. You recognize red flags that impatience would have ignored. You see the difference between what you want in the moment and what is truly meant for your future. Clarity comes when you stop trying to control everything and start allowing things to reveal themselves naturally. Impatience often leads to frustration. People become angry when things don't happen on their timeline. They get discouraged when success doesn't come overnight or when obstacles appear on their path. But patience teaches resilience. It shows you that delays are not denials, and setbacks are often setups for something greater. Many people quit right before their breakthrough because they lack the patience to endure the waiting period. Those who succeed are the ones who understand that good things take time. Patience is not passive. It is not about sitting back and doing nothing. It is about taking action while trusting the process. It is about putting in the work, making smart decisions, and allowing things to develop at the right pace. Growth cannot be rushed. A seed does not turn into a tree overnight. It requires time, care, and the right conditions. The same applies to your goals, relationships, and personal development. Clarity comes when emotions settle. Many bad decisions are made in moments of heightened emotion, whether it's anger, excitement, fear, or anxiety. Patience gives you the space to step back, breathe, and approach situations with a clear mind. It allows you to see beyond temporary emotions and focus on long-term consequences. People who react impulsively often find themselves regretting their choices, while those who exercise patience gain control over their action. The ability to wait for the right moment is a skill that separates those who struggle from those who thrive. Many doors remain closed not because they will never open, but because it is not the right time yet. The impatient person bangs on doors, demands entry, and gets frustrated when things don't happen on their schedule. The patient person prepares, improves, and positions themselves so that when the door finally opens, they are ready to walk through with confidence. Discipline and patience go hand in hand. Anything worth having requires a process. Wealth is built over time. Strong relationships are formed through trust and consistency. And personal growth happens through continuous effort. People who seek shortcuts often find themselves back at the starting point because they skip the necessary steps. The ones who embrace patience, who commit to the process, and who trust the timing of their journey are the ones who experience lasting success. Clarity is a reward for those who wait. When you rush, you settle for what is immediately available rather than what is truly best for you. Patience allows you to choose wisely, to align with the right people, and to recognize when something is truly meant for you. It removes the noise, eliminates distractions, and provides a sense of certainty that cannot be found in rushed decisions. Those who master patience gain not only success, but also peace, knowing that they are exactly where they need to be. Mastering silence is mastering control. The ability to stay quiet in the right moments is one of the most powerful skills a person can develop. It separates those who act with wisdom from those who act on impulse. Silence is often misunderstood as weakness or indecision, but in reality, it is a tool used by the strongest and most disciplined individuals. When you control your words, you control your energy. When you control your energy, you control your outcomes. Many people speak simply to fill the silence. They respond too quickly without thinking and regret it later. They react to criticism, arguments, and challenges with words that are driven by emotion rather than wisdom. But those who understand the power of silence know that not every situation requires a response. Not every opinion needs to be challenged. Not every insult deserves an answer. Sometimes the most effective move is to say nothing at all. People reveal more when you stay silent. They expose their true intentions, their insecurities, and their weaknesses when they are not met with immediate resistance. When you let others talk, you learn what they truly think, what they truly value, and what they are really after. Those who feel the need to dominate every conversation with their voice often miss this. They are too busy proving a point to recognize what is actually being said. But silence creates space for observation, and observation leads to understanding. Silence keeps you from making emotional mistakes. Many people regret the things they say in anger, frustration, or excitement. They make promises they can't keep, say things they don't mean, or reveal